Sustainability, climate change. I'm going to get someone in here to educate me and also share so much wisdom with you all. His name's Lahiro. Doing good things for the world. Let's get him. Knock, knock. The suspense is killing me. Oh my God. Yeah!
Hello.
Anyway, let's talk. Okay, so you're a mechanical engineer and you're also an MC. You do like events and stuff, yeah?
Yeah, exactly
Weddings?
right. Yeah, weddings, festivals, annual balls, charity galas. My main or full-time role is, my background's engineering, mostly in project management with buildings and like commercial buildings and shopping centers. Yeah.
And you work with like waste divisions and stuff, yeah?
So part of what I do is waste management in like big commercial buildings, like supermarket, retailers, those kind of things. So yeah, getting around the country, there's 100,000 staff, or in a head office there might be 4,000. So it's education always comes into the piece, and it's once you start with education and signage, then the conversations start happening, and you start noticing people like stopping to think about the signs and being like, oh, I didn't think this, I didn't do this elsewhere. So that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's such a nice way of putting it. Like, yeah, educate and give people the tools instead of like, telling them, which I think must happen in a lot of corporate spaces. It's like, do this, and they don't really understand why.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
no, good call. It's always about the why.
When we were chatting yesterday and you were like, oh, there's, 3 parts to the equation of sustainability, to be perfectly honest, I was like, I had never thought that way. So can you share that? Because I really think that that's so like relevant to the time we're in now, and we're on a brink of really looking at those 3 parts.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess like it comes down to what is sustainability, and for me it's very much about those 3 aspects. 3 aspects being the environmental aspect, the social aspect, and the economic aspect. So when we talk about sustainability, we lose sight of the other 2, the economy and the social aspect. But you can only get a sustainable system once you fulfill or balance those 3 aspects together. So you're covering your social aspects, like social equity, just initiatives, and then the economic side, so the disparity, wealth disparity, ensuring jobs for local people, local communities, Australians, and then the environmental side as well. So you essentially got like 3 aspects running away from each other, and you kind of just got to like bring them all in line, and it's like an equilibrium.
Like the people who really want to, be responsible for their footprint, like, what the impact is that they're making. It's all well and good to sort of leave the house and turn the lights off. And what education can you give me and others for how we can reduce what our output is?
Yeah, so that's the key. Like we do focus very heavily on energy production, which is your solar power, wind power, renewable energy, etc. But it's actually a lot easier to control our energy consumption on the output side. So it's things like reducing our waste, whether it's like for example in a lot of Melbourne areas, in a general landfill bin, the stats are that 40% of a general landfill bin is actually food waste that can otherwise be recycled. And there's heaps of companies these days who are recycling them, and they actually have a circular economy where they recycle the food waste and it goes back through treatment facilities and it's turned into compost. And then that ends up back at like farmers or local farmers markets or veggie patches to produce the goods again. So it's a closed loop. Local councils are definitely pushing it. I live in an apartment complex 23 in Burundara in Hawthorne, and they've just released FOGO, which is food organics, garden organics in the same bin, collected weekly. And now they've pushed back the landfill to fortnightly. So you're essentially allowed to put landfill less frequently, but you can put food waste and recycling more frequently.
That's amazing.
And then there's things like container deposit schemes. You know how South Australia and other states have like plastic bottles, glass bottles, and aluminium bottles, cans? You get 10 cents. Like that's a simple win, and Victoria's slowly getting there. Cool. But then like there's others like quick simple things, like in terms of where we invest our money is probably the biggest thing. So going to local farmers markets or local shops, you know, where you're supporting your local economy, keeping the money in your local economy and all that. Choosing, you know, sustainable banks, like Bank Australia is one that comes to mind. Sustainable Energy, which is Power Shop, and you can actually monitor your daily energy consumption based on a phone app. You literally look at it and you can see which hours consume the most energy. So that's a
What's
smart
it
net on
called?
your
I
phone.
need to write that.
Power Shop. That's
Good.
the electricity one. Bank Australia is a bank, which is the most sustainable bank we have. And then in terms of superannuation, there's Australian Ethical Super, and that's pretty cool as well. So they invest only in sustainable and ethical companies, whereas obviously the others are moving towards it, but they're still slowly divesting away from, you know, coal and extractive resources, which we don't like. So we're getting there. Just we as people can push that along a lot faster, spending our dollar more wisely, basically. Like right now, we have the opportunity to change the system entirely. Like, we know the system wasn't working environmentally, you know, Australian bushfires, socially, you know, like anti-racism, Black Lives Matters, like the wealth disparity in Australia and elsewhere. Like, we really have an opportunity to change the system. All those three aspects, a triple bottom line: social, economic, and environmental. So I think this is where we can really make a change.
Yeah, they're all being highlighted right now. They're all being put into the big compactor.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.